Hello again. It almost looks like as if I was recording most of the stuff on the same day, but it's my routine to go out for a walk, clear my mind a bit. So I had a weird thought today, or more like an inspiration. So for the people like myself, in childhood, neglect, abuse, no safe parents, unsafe environment as a whole. So what do you do? Because it dawned on me that most of the therapists, hypnotherapists, and most of the processes to heal actually involve you to kind of get into the memories where you felt safe. What it means is like you're trying to get into the space with yourself where you feel safe, where you feel seen and all of that stuff. So healing your inner child as well. But because I've done that with one of the therapists recently, and it's kind of worked. And that's why also it's interesting every time, let's say, there is also something painful that happens, like this Christmas and stuff, or my ex-classmate some few months ago. Every time something painful, traumatic happens, or there's a re-traumatizing trigger, or there's like a therapy session, something comes up, something surfaces, and the pain in itself, as I noticed, it creates a crack, but then all through those cracks the light comes out. Back to my point is, it's interesting when you're trying to maybe just also sit with yourself, meditate, create something positive. First of all, of course, I'm able to, and I have been able for a very long time, to feel grateful. And I mean grateful for everything, for the joy, for the sadness, for the rain and for the sun, for the pain and for the healing. All of this kind of stuff is just part of life. But then recently, trying to just get out of this a little bit downward spiral because of what's going on with the people and some repetitive patterns, I'm like thinking, how do I actually heal from this? What can I do? And I found myself a little bit stuck in a cycle of trying to heal, of trying to make it safe, trying to make it the way other people had it, yeah? But then, today, what I realized, the best thing I can do is stop trying to heal, stop healing. Because for some of us, there's a lot of people who got traumatized in their childhood in many different ways and in many different depths and layers. But for those of us, specifically those of us who got a lot of pain and abuse in life, and then they kept sending us to the therapy and pointing finger at us as if we're the problem, and we still decide not to do the same thing on other people. That doesn't mean we're perfect angels or whatever, and especially not me. When it comes to bad assholes, I don't mind hurting them. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. But if they push it, if they ask, and I mean ask, I've been attacked multiple times in life. That's when I have to defend myself, and that's it. Nothing less, nothing more. Made a couple of mistakes in my life in terms of hitting someone out of aggression or anger, but that was nothing compared to when I had to fight for my own life. Also, when I was going through life, should have been dead already a few times. accidents or whatever. So in that sense, what I'm trying to say is I knew how to take care of myself as a child. So in the end, I was the safest space and the safest person around, and keeping others safe. And when I wasn't safe enough for myself, whether I was sitting in the passenger seat of a car where a guy not good at driving and not sober was driving, we were literally just inches away from head-on collision. And then many of these things that happened in my life, especially in the recent years, when I realized that when you are all alone, at least when it comes to human people, and something happens, if you're a good person, you can trust that you are protected, loved, and you will be saved one way or another, especially if you matter. And we all matter. So what can I do in order to stop trying to heal, and what can I do instead? Because obviously you can't just do nothing. Stay stuck in the same space definitely doesn't feel right. So that's the crazy thought today. If you don't know what is safe for you, if you still have a fragmented idea of yourself, because listen, that's what happens to all of us with complex trauma. And whether you turned into a toxic asshole or you turned into someone surrounded by toxic assholes, sooner or later you come to realize that you were serving or performing everyone else for everyone else but yourself. A narcissist is not a person that is in love with themselves. They are in desperate need for control, validation, and protecting their false self-image. And then someone like myself, who is on the opposite spectrum of this, and that also creates a hyper empathy and codependency. It's just as toxic in a sense, but from a different perspective. You walk into the room and you start reading it because you want to make sure everyone's happy. Not that you are the one in the center of attention and stuff and looking after yourself only. Both things are survival mode. That's a fact. So, for me, coming from this other side of the spectrum, realizing that I've always tried to keep others safe, happy, do stuff, and that would also get me accepted, right? So ultimately, of course, that was that. It's a survival and ego-driven mode. Default network mode. So you don't have any memory of what life should be. So that's comparison between CPTSD and the PTSD. PTSD and CPTSD are very similar, but there's one distinct difference, is there was life, probably normal and good, at least better. Something happens and there's PTSD. CPTSD is like, oh, you guys had a life? Good. So, what to do? What can we do to change our triggers, our reactiveness, our hypervigilance and hypersensitivity and all of these things that are totally self-sabotaging traits? Transform. Stop healing. Transform yourself. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't have to build a new identity, do some big things or whatever in life to start changing. Yeah. What really does need to happen is just a couple of things. One is do stuff just out of pure spontaneous action. No plan, no nothing comes to your mind. If you can do it immediately, do it. Like a sudden walk to a park, do it. You need to call a friend you haven't called for many years and speak to them, do it. Whatever crosses you like that. And if you can't do it immediately, make a note, pen and a paper, or use the device which you're watching this from, and make a note. And then do it as soon as possible. Second thing you can do is take time, sit with yourself, and just figure out at least one thing that you really liked but you haven't done or tried yet. Whatever it is, whether it's a new language, new skill, whatever. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to be good at it or not. It's not about performance. It's about the key thing, to rewire your brain. That's what will actually ultimately start the changes. Rewiring your brain. What I've recently tried was spend at least, because I'm a heavy coffee junkie, so I tried to spend a minimum of 3 days without any coffee and drinking just herbal tea. So that means no black tea, no green tea, no nothing like that. Herbal tea helps you to sleep at night. And I felt not good, to be honest. After more than 30 years of drinking coffee every day, it's hard to quit. But I still felt better due to the fact that I made a decision and then I could do something, change it, shift it. And the interesting part about doing this from this spectrum, complex trauma, childhood trauma, trauma in life, toxic people, a pattern that keeps repeating itself, because don't get me wrong, there's other people who do this shit, but we actually also walk into it. We allow them to do it. We are the ones without the boundaries. So take your own responsibility. Be accountable for that shit. And take a deep breath. And then I think for the last part, and that's the most difficult one for most people, because that's a combination of intellect, emotional intelligence, resilience, and the adversity quotient, is to observe your own thoughts. There's now a lot of this ego-blowing stuff going on around that you're very special if you can do that and you're super intelligent. No, it's an ability that everyone has, but most people just do not use it. They run on autopilot. They don't try to see things from the perspective, and especially they don't try to see themselves from a different perspective. So these 3 things: do stuff that comes across your mind, do stuff you really wanted to but haven't done before. Third, observe your own thoughts and emotions. No judgment, just an observer. Doesn't matter, you said something bad, it doesn't matter. You forgot to say something good, it doesn't matter. No judgment, just an observation. Stop trying to heal. You're perfectly fine as you are. It doesn't mean you don't have to work on yourself. It doesn't mean you don't have to be accountable for the shit you've done and the shit that you're doing, maybe. We all are. But in order to keep going somewhere, to keep moving, it's just one thing that you can do. Just start changing. It's about actual action. And it's not about performing, really. Not about pleasing the society, pleasing your mom, pleasing anyone else around you. It's not even about pleasing yourself, because when it comes to actual awakening, changing, transformation and stuff, every beginning is hard, and as we go further and deeper and longer, it gets harder. Every time before things get really easy, it's always a big learning curve, and then like this. And the most funny part is nothing goes just there and ends. There's no beginning and an end. It's all waves, and it just matter in the end. In the end, it really matters how you ride it. But yeah, you can't always heal and fix stuff. Sometimes you just gotta reinvent it, rewrite it, do something different. And I do wish you that you actually overcome your own challenges faster, better than I did. Peace out, and you'll see my last video tomorrow night.